Let us recapitulate whatever we have done till the 4th paragraphs of this lesson, right? Till now, APJ Abdul Kalam, the former president of India, the missile man of India, a great scientist, and honestly and in the real manner, a great man. He had given in his this autobiography, he had shared some information with us about his parents. He wants to convey by describing his parents that whatever he has become, it was all due to the efforts of his parents who had played an important role. The parents whom he described as embodiment of honesty, sincerity, generosity, and those who had nurtured his life so well that in the 4th paragraph he had given an example of the religious harmony that he had moved. Because the parents had brought up such an environment in the family. Just as, for example, in the beginning of the 4th paragraph, he talked about that how the children are brought in a specific socio-economic and environment and emotional environment. Yes, that is actually pertaining to the parenting. What values the parents imbibe in their children, that they grow as respectable citizens of the society and they learn to respect others. In the 4th paragraph, he mentioned being a Muslim himself, he had a group of 3 friends with him, and all the 3 friends were staunch Brahmin families, Orthodox Brahmin families. All were Hindus, but they all the 4 friends, they respected each other's religion, they respected each other's emotions, they respected each other as friends. Later on, he has given an evidence that how earlier the elderly people, they also believed in religious harmony. They never wanted religious discrimination or any kind of discrimination. I think when you read this, you will definitely think over, you will definitely ponder over what happens today when we read messages on social media, when we read stories in the newspaper, when we watch the news channels. Isn't it? It's really very painful to see all this. Anyway, now all the 3 friends, who these 3 friends were, let us just go back to the passage 4. Right? These friends were Ramanand Shastri, who was the son of a priest. Later on, he became the high priest of Rameshwaram temple, right? Rameshwaram, where he lived. Then Aravindan, he had started following the transport business. He had been arranging the transport for the pilgrims. And the third one was Shiva Prakashan, who had been into the business of catering. He had been catering the services to the Southern Railways, right? Now, after that, what happened? Let's see. During the annual Sri Sita Rama Kalyanam ceremony of our family, during the annual Sri Sita Rama Kalyanam ceremony, our family used to arrange boats with a special platform for carrying idols of the Lord from the temple to the marriage site, situated in the middle of the pond called Ramatirtha, which was near our house. Now, this Sita Rama Kalyanam ceremony, it was a special feature. It was a special celebration for the people in Rameshwaram. What used to happen there? Let us see. Yes. This Sita Rama Kalyanam was the celebration that was a tradition where the Utsav meaning the festival of Lord Rama and Sita Devi that is the idols of Lord Rama and Sita Devi. They are brought forth in a procession, and their marriage is performed as between a bride and bridegroom. So in a way, the marriage ceremony of the wedding ceremony of Lord Rama and Sita, that is celebrated. And then the idols of Lord Rama and Sita, they are brought in a boat, right? Events from the Ramayana and from the life of the prophet were the bedtime stories my mother and grandmother would tell the children in our family. Yes, now you see that this is an example of religious harmony. What the writer has said, what Kalam had said, events from the Ramayana and from the life of prophet. It was not so that he was a Muslim. So the mother and the grandmother, they would tell the stories of Prophet Muhammad only. No, they would tell the children the stories of Ramayana. Yes, it happens, children. I have my friends, I have my colleagues, those who are Christians and Muslims, but they know so many stories of Hindu mythology. Now, the point is that how did they learn? Of course, their parents have told them those stories. So in reality, the parents teach the children everything. They do not tell them the stories only from their own religion. That is the beauty of our country, that so many religions, they prosper here. They are the people belonging to so many religions, the people practicing so many religions, they are living together and they respect each other, except a few, very few, right? One day when I was in the 5th standard at
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, what
Yes.
is the meaning of prophet?
Prophet is Prophet Muhammad. Muhammad was you can say the religious leader of Muslims whom they used to worship, right? Just as we say Lord Rama, right? Bhagwan Ram. हम कहते हैं ना Lord Rama meaning भगवान राम. वैसे ही वो लोग कहते हैं Prophet Muhammad. Prophet को हिंदी में हम कहते हैं पैगंबर. वैसे पैगंबर जो है वो एक उर्दू का ही वर्ड है, राइट? लेकिन मोहम्मद को जैसे हम गुरु या भगवान कहते हैं तो वो लोग उसको पैगंबर कहते हैं, राइट? क्रिश्चियंस में जब द प्रीस्ट ऑफ द चर्च इज कॉल्ड फादर. आर यू गेटिंग दिस, अनमोल?
यस मैम.
राइट, तो जैसे चर्च में फादर को जो प्रीस्ट होता है, हाई प्रीस्ट होता है, उसको हम कहते हैं फादर. मंदिर में कहते हैं पंडित जी, पुजारी जी, शास्त्री जी, राइट? इसी तरह से मुस्लिम्स जो हैं वो अपने रिलीजियस लीडर को प्रॉफिट कहते हैं, पैगंबर. लेकिन पैगंबर सबके लिए यूज नहीं होता है, पैगंबर मोहम्मद के लिए यूज होता है. जैसे हम लॉर्ड रामा, लॉर्ड कृष्णा कहते हैं, राइट? लेकिन हम लॉर्ड रामदेव नहीं कहते हैं. लॉर्ड रामा कहते हैं, लॉर्ड रामदेव नहीं कहते हैं, because Ramdev is different. I hope you are getting it.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So one day when I was in the 5th standard at the Rameshwaram Elementary School, a new teacher came to our class. Now this is an incident that had happened. What is to be learned from this incident? This is very, very important, right? This has happened when he was in 5th standard in Rameshwaram School, and a new teacher had come to the class. I used to wear a cap which marked me as a Muslim, and I always sat in the front row next to Ramanatha Shastri, who wore the sacred thread. What is that sacred thread do you know?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, what is it called? The Hindus, they wear a sacred thread around the waist. Yes, Vinayak, any idea?
Ma'am, tagdi.
Tagdi. Tagdi. Tagdi, I think, is worn by women, beta. Sacred thread इसको हम कहते हैं जनेऊ. Right? You will ask your parents today, they will tell you.
Okay, ma'am.
आपने आम हिंदूज को नहीं देखा होगा, लेकिन जो मंदिर में जैसे पंडित है ना, आप उनको देखिए. So they wear a thread around their body. Right? That is called janaeu. So he was sitting in his class in the front row, on the front seat. He was a Muslim, so he was wearing a cap. Which cap? A skull cap. The cap that the Muslims wear, that is called skull cap. That is not an ordinary cap, right? And the other friend, Ramananda, he was wearing a sacred thread, that is Janeu. So Janeu marked him as a Hindu. The new teacher could not stomach a Hindu priest's son sitting with a Muslim boy. The new teacher could not stomach, meaning could not tolerate. The new teacher could not tolerate that a Hindu son, a Hindu boy is sitting with a Muslim boy. Right? Do you think that Kalam or his Hindu friend, if they had any problem in sitting together?
No, ma'am.
No, they had no problem. They did not believe in this kind of discrimination. That's why they were sitting together. But the teacher had been thinking this way. What would you call this teacher? The teacher who creates such kind of discrimination. What will you describe that teacher as? Yes, both of you. What would you describe him as? Don't you think that the teacher is so narrow-minded? Isn't it? The teacher is narrow-minded. The teacher is communal. Communal is the person who discriminates on the basis of community, caste, or religion. Right? So the teacher appeared to be very narrow-minded. The teacher appeared to be highly communal. That was very sad. In accordance with our social ranking, as the new teacher saw it, I was asked to go and sit on the back bench. In accordance with our social ranking, as the new teacher saw it. Social ranking meaning? The social ranking as the new teacher saw it, meaning as the new teacher thought. According to the new teacher had created his own social ranking, what that the Hindus would be sitting on the front seats and Muslims at the back. Right? Because definitely this teacher might have thought that Hindus are superior to Muslims, whereas there is nothing sort of this thing. That was only his thinking. And then I was asked to go and sit on the back bench. Poor Kalam, he was told to go at the back. The teacher turned furious that how dare a Muslim boy sitting with a Hindu boy, and that to a priest's son. So he immediately told him to vacate the seat and go at the back. I felt very sad, and so did Ramanatha Shastri. Kalam felt very sad. Of course, what do you think? Did he only feel sad, or there might be some other feeling also? Yes.
Ma'am, he feels sad because he did not sit with her friend or best.
Okay. If you were there in place of Kalam, what would you have felt? Yes. How would you have felt at that time? Simply sad?
Ma'am, angry also.
You would have felt angry. Yes. Any other?
I'm depressed.
Yes.
I'm depressed.
Depressed, right. You would have felt depressed. You would have felt humiliated. You would have felt insulted in front of the whole class, isn't it? Even if for a right reason, the teacher sometimes scolds you in front of the class, you feel bad, isn't it? And here there is no wrong reason. Yet, Kalam was snubbed by the teacher, telling him to go and sit at the back. So Kalam felt very sad, very humiliated. And not only Kalam, even his friend Ramananda Shastri also felt very sad. Because both the boys had no such feeling between each other. Because they never thought that one is Muslim and the other is Hindu. They only knew that they were good friends. That's all. Right? Anyway, this reflects the real colors of the teacher. It does reflect the character of the two boys, that they were good friends, right? But at the same time, it does highlight the character of the teacher who was narrow-minded, who was completely communal. You see that the people like this teacher, they divide the society, children. They spread hatred in the name of religion or the caste, right? He looked utterly downcast as I shifted to my seat in the last row. Ramananda Shastri, he felt so sad that he was looking utterly, completely. He was looking completely depressed, disturbed. When Kalam was shifted to the back seat in the last row, the image of him weeping when I shifted to the last row left a lasting impression on me. Ramananda Shastri, Kalam anyway silently moved to the last seat. And Ramananda Shastri, he not only felt sad, but he could not check his emotions. He could not check his feelings. He could not control himself, and he was weeping. And Kalam had noticed his tears when he was shifting to the last row, how his friend Ramananda Shastri that was weeping. This left a lasting impression on me. How do you think that, what does he mean to say when he says that this left a lasting impression on me? Lasting meaning forever, that cannot be forgotten, that remains permanently. Yes. It means that he could never forget. He could never forget how his friend cried for him. Right? The tears of Ramanandan Shastri children, they suggested that he was a true friend of Kalam. That was a teacher who did this mistake. But Ramananda Shastri, he had great respect and love for his friend Kalam. So this row left a lasting impression on him, meaning he was amazed by the love and respect shown by Ramananda Shastri. At the same time, he could not forget how a teacher had tried to spread hatred in front of so many children in the class. I hope it is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, shall I continue?
Yes.
All right.
Ma'am.
After school, we went home and told our respective parents about the incident. Both the boys, they went home. They informed their parents what had happened in the class. You see, this is natural behavior of children. When you get back to home, you narrate all the stories to your parents. Lakshmana Shastri summoned the teacher and in our presence told the teacher that he should not spread the poison of social inequality and communal intolerance in the minds of innocent children. Lakshman Shastri, that is Ramananda Shastri's father. He summoned, he called the teacher. And he called the boys also. In front of the boys, in boys' presence, and Kalam's father was also called. In front of all of them, he told the teacher not to spread, he cautioned, he warned the teacher not to spread this venom, this poison of social inequality, social discrimination between Hindus and Muslims. And they should not spread, the teacher should not spread, the teacher should not create communal intolerance in the minds of innocent children. The children are young, they are innocent, so they should not be taught the communal lessons. When the children are told they are Hindus and Muslims, what happens? It is dividing them. It means we are teaching them communal things. We are not teaching them harmony. We are not teaching them unity. Whereas we claim that we are the country where there is unity in diversity. Right? But if a teacher behaves in such a way in the class, the message goes to the students that we are all diverse. We have to be divided. But no, a teacher's job is to bring all together. So you see that it's not only that the children respected each other, the parents also. Lakshman Shastri, he was the head priest of the temple. He was an orthodox Hindu priest, yet he did not like the communal behavior of the teacher, and he raised his voice against it. He bluntly asked the teacher to either apologize or quit the school and the island. He bluntly is rudely, impolitely, right? But here it is very formally. He had very sharply he had told the teacher, you must apologize. You must apologize, meaning what is to apologize?
Sorry.
Yes, to say sorry. You must say sorry to Kalam right now. Anmol, you remember that I had shown you a video clip in the beginning of the lesson?
Yes, ma'am.
Right there also, how the teacher had to, how the father had told the teacher to apologize to Kalam, right? So he sharply told the teacher to say sorry to Kalam because she had hurt him. She had hurt his sentiments. Or the teacher should quit, leave the school and leave Rameshwaram. Not only did the teacher regret his behavior, but the strong sense of conviction Lakshmana Shastri conveyed ultimately reformed the young teacher. Yes, this sharp statement, this warning by Lakshmana Shastri, this strong conviction, strong opinion of Lakshman Shastri that all are same, all are alike, all are equal. He wanted to convey this message that all are equal, all are alike. There is no communal or religious difference. So this statement of, or this opinion of Lakshman Shastri, it was so strong, the impact was such that the teacher regretted his behavior. The teacher felt sorry for his behavior, realized his mistake, that he should not have behaved with Kalam like this. And ultimately, finally, he reformed himself. He reformed himself. He pledged to the children that he is not going to bring the religion or the caste or community in the class. And all the children, they would be treated alike, despite whatever the caste or community or religion they belonged to. I hope it is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. On the whole, the small society of Rameshwaram was very rigid in terms of the segregation of different social groups. Because Hindus Majority was there. So many Hindus were living there. And that too, mostly Brahmins population was there in the society of Rameshwaram. So they were very rigid. They were very rigid in segregation, in the division of different social groups. Now, what were these social groups? These social groups were like, that you people might have learned in history also, Brahman, Kshatriya, Shudra, etc. So they had believed in the segregation, the classification of the whole society into groups. However, my science teacher, Shiva Subramania Iyer, though an Orthodox Brahmin with a very conservative wife, was something of a rebel. Now look at these children. In such an environment, when there are 80% people or even 90% people, they believe in different caste, they believe in different social groups. We must understand 10% they do not believe. Those 10% people, if they are formed, they can bring a change in the society. And here the example has been given by Shiva Subramaniam Iyer, a science teacher of Kalam. Kalam has particularly mentioned this incident, right? Because it is an evidence, it is a learning for not only children, but for the teachers as well. So he said that his science teacher, Shiva Subramaniam Iyer, who was an orthodox, a traditional Brahmin man, his wife was very conservative. Conservative? Vinayak, do you know the meaning conservative, beta?
No, ma'am.
Conservative,
No, ma'am.
yes?
No, ma'am, I don't know the meaning of conservative.
Okay, no problem. Conservative is old-fashioned. Conservative is orthodox, narrow-minded, traditional, right? Those who believe in old things, old practices, old religions, those who are not modern, they are conservative, right? So his wife was very conservative. She was very traditional. She had very old beliefs. She had not changed herself with the time. But the science teacher, Shiva Subramaniam Iyer, he was something of a rebel. He was something of a rebel, meaning the one who would oppose what is wrong. He would condemn, he would oppose what is wrong. He did his best to break social barriers so that people from varying backgrounds could mingle easily. He was against this segregation of social groups. He did not believe in considering the humans or categorizing the humans as Shudras or Brahmins or Kshatriyas, etc., etc. No, he wanted to break these social barriers. This segregation on the basis of caste or community, they are social barriers. Social barriers meaning they hinder, they obstruct the development and the progress of a society. So he wanted to break these social barriers. He wanted to remove these obstructions, these hurdles, so that the people from different backgrounds, the people from diverse backgrounds. Now, what are those diverse backgrounds? One is one is Shudra, one is Kshatriya, one is Brahman, etc., etc. Now you see that what is this? These are four segregations of Hindus only. और अगर हम इस segregation की बेटा बात करें, तो just to add to your knowledge, there is segregation in every religion. इस्लाम में भी आप देखिए शिया और सुन्नी दो होते हैं. क्रिश्चियंस में भी कैथोलिक्स और प्रोटेस्टेंट्स होते हैं. और हिंदूज में तो कितने ही ग्रुप्स हैं. This is what you know. But that science teacher, he had been trying his best to keep all those people from different backgrounds united under one umbrella only. He wanted them to mingle easily. To mingle easily is to mix up easily. To mix up easily, that is to gather. He wanted them to gather. He wanted them to be united. He wanted them to be one. This is what he had done. His wife was conservative. Despite that, it was not so that he would not respect his wife, but he would practice what he believed. He did not believe in these social barriers. He did not believe in this kind of discrimination. So he did not follow that. How we know that he did not practice that? Here is an example. He used to spend hours with me and would say, Kalam, I want you to develop so that you are on par with the highly educated people of the big cities. The teacher had seen Kalam's intellect. The teacher had noticed that Kalam was very sharp, very intelligent. So he would spend hours with him and he would often tell Kalam that he wants Kalam to develop, to grow in such a way that he is on par. He is on par with highly educated people, meaning he is equal to the level of the highly educated people of big cities. The science teacher had high expectations from Kalam. The science teacher, he had a strong belief that Kalam would one day be highly educated, and he is such an intellectual that his knowledge would be equal to that of highly educated people. And today, children, when we read about Kalam, then we think that yes, science teacher had a very accurate observation about Kalam. Isn't it?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, Kalam turned out to be famous. Famous for his intellect, for his deep insight, for his wide knowledge, for his wisdom. Apart from that, yes, many other personality traits. That is his generosity, his humbleness. He had been an epitome of religious unity, right? Yes. Now here he shares an anecdote from his school time that he experienced with the science teacher who had a soft corner for him, who had high expectations from him. One day he invited me to his home for a meal. His wife was horrified at the idea of a Muslim boy being invited to dine in a ritually pure kitchen. You see what I told, what has been mentioned here? That the science teacher, however his wife is conservative, but he would practice what he thinks is right. He knew that his wife was so orthodox, so conservative, she would not welcome the idea of inviting a Muslim boy in the house. Yet, despite all that, he invited Kalam to his home for the meal. When his wife learned, she was horrified. She was horrified. To get horrified is actually to get feared, to get scared. But here it is, she was shocked. She was shocked how a Muslim boy could eat, could dine, could eat the meals in her kitchen that was ritually pure. Because all kind of vegetarian food being served, and she was so conservative. So before any meal, of course, she must be performing some rituals. She must be doing puja and all, isn't it? जो ट्रेडिशनल लोग वो करते हैं ना, रसोई परोसने से पहले वो पूजा वगैरह करते हैं और पूरा किचन को प्योर रखते हैं. This is what they believed. So she was shocked when she learned that her husband has invited a Muslim boy to have meals in her kitchen. She refused to serve me in her kitchen. She protested. She protested, she refused, that she would not allow the teacher and his pupil to have meals in her kitchen. Why? Because she was a conservative woman. She thought if a Muslim boy eats in her kitchen, then her kitchen would be impurified. That was the thinking of his wife. But he wanted to change this mindset. The teacher wanted to change this mindset. Shiva Subramaniam Iyer was not perturbed, nor did he get angry with his wife. He was very patient. He was not perturbed. He was not disturbed. Why he was not disturbed? Because he knew his wife's reaction. He knew his wife was going to react in such a way. So he was not bothered. He was not disturbed. He did not, in fact, get angry with his wife because he respected her sentiments also. She would not allow him to have meal in the kitchen. He would not take Kalam to the kitchen to have meal. So in this way, what Shiva Subramaniam Iyer had done, he had maintained a balance between his belief, his opinion, and his wife's thinking. So in this way, there is peace also in the house. But instead, served me with his own hands and sat down beside me to eat his meal. He did not do anything. He just did not respond. Of course, he would not eat in the kitchen. But the teacher had served the food to Kalam with his own hands. Not only that, he also took his meals while sitting beside him. He sat along with him, and both the teacher and the pupil, both the teacher and the taught, they had their meals together. His wife watched us from behind the kitchen door. The wife had been observing the two. I wondered whether she had observed any difference in the way I ate rice, drank water, or cleaned the floor after the meal. Kalam means to say, I wondered whether she had observed. I wondered, he doubted that she must be observing. And while observing, would she find any difference in the way he ate rice or the teacher ate rice? He drank water or the teacher drank water? He cleaned the floor after the meal? Is there any difference, children? Is there any difference between us and them? No, there is no difference. God has given us the same kind of body. We all have 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 nose, 2 hands. Isn't it? The way they eat rice, we also eat rice. Where is the difference? The difference is in the mind. The differences in the mind, the differences there in our thinking. This is what Kalam wants to convey by sharing this particular anecdote. When I was leaving his house, Shiva Subramaniam Iyer invited me to join him for dinner again the next weekend. When he was leaving, the teacher invited him again for the dinner the next weekend. Observing my hesitation, he told me not to get upset. The teacher had observed what? That Kalam was a bit hesitant. He was a bit reluctant. He was feeling shy whether he should accept this invitation or not. The teacher knew that he is getting nervous. So he told Kalam not to get upset, not to worry, not to get nervous. And further, the teacher told him, once you decide to change the system, such problems have to be confronted. A small statement, children, but a very big message here Kalam has given. And he remembers that, and this is what he is sharing with you to understand. He says, the teacher told Kalam, you should not worry, You should accept the invitation and come again the next weekend for the dinner. Once you decide to change the system, the teacher has conveyed to Kalam why he was inviting him again for the dinner. Because he has decided to change the system. What system he wanted to change?
Ma'am, the difference between religious and caste.
Right, right. He wanted to change the thought process of the people like his wife. Right? He wanted to change the mindset of the people like his wife, who were so conservative. The wife had not seen a good, a decent boy in Kalam. She had seen only a Muslim in Kalam, isn't it? But the teacher loved Kalam for his intellect, for his brilliance, for his hard work, for his sincerity. So many things are there. So it does not matter to him, despite being a Hindu or Brahmin, it does not matter to him whether Kalam is a Muslim or a Hindu. So this is what he told Kalam, that if you have decided to change the system, you must go on. Such problems have to be confronted. And when you are trying to change the society, when you are trying to change the system, the problems will be there. The challenges have to be confronted. They have to be fought. They have to be met. They have to be faced. There would be challenges, and we have to learn to cope up with those challenges. There would be hardships, there would be challenges, and we have to fight against it. Are you people watching KBC?
No, ma'am.
No? You must. Anyway, this was 2 days before. A girl, she had contested and she won 1 crore, right? And the girl was blind.
Yes, ma'am, I watched that episode.
You saw that episode, no? Right?
Yes, ma'am.
So the girl also said the same thing, that we should not give up when we have the challenges. We have to fight. So this is what she had learned. That was in 2011 when she met an accident. She lost her vision. For some time, she said that she thought that here is the end of everything now. Now the further life is very dark. But when she saw her parents, that they had given up the hope, then she thought that no, it is affecting the parents' life. So she told the parents, don't worry, the things would definitely improve. And then gradually they found out some university, she got admission there. And today you see that she is living an independent life. She is standing on her own feet. She is not dependent on anyone, right? So when we are changing the system, when we are doing something different, right, there would be challenges and we have to fight against those challenges. When I visited his house the next week, Shiva Subramaniam Iyer's wife took me inside her kitchen and served me food with her own hands. Wow, the teacher was right. Isn't it? How patiently, how quietly he had been practicing what he wanted to. His aim was to change the system. And don't you think he has changed the system?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, he did.
What a change! What a change! Next week, as the teacher had invited him, the next weekend he went to the teacher's house, and to his surprise and amazement, what it was, this time it was not the teacher, but the teacher's wife, who welcomed Kalam, who took him inside her kitchen. She made him sit in her kitchen, served him food with her own hands. So that mind is changed. This is what the teacher has determined to do, and the teacher has been successful. Then the Second World War was over, and India's freedom was imminent. India's freedom was imminent. It was very clear. It was very obvious. Soon India is going to be independent. Indians will build their own India, declared Gandhiji. Gandhiji had given assurance to the world that soon India is going to be an independent country. The whole country was filled with an unprecedented optimism. Optimism is, do you know optimism? We have to be optimistic in our life. Yes, Shiva Subramaniam Iyer was an optimist. That's why he invited Kalam the next weekend also. And he told him that we have to change the system. We have to confront the problems. Optimism is to hope, positive, right? An optimist is the one who has a positive thinking, a positive approach towards life, right? The whole country was filled and unprecedented, unparalleled, a new spark of hope was there among all the countrymen. The people who had turned optimistic, they had been hoping soon we would become free. I asked my father for permission to leave Rameshwaram and study at the district headquarters in Ramanathapuram. Now, this was the time for Kalam to go for higher education. He wanted to take permission from his father that he wanted to leave Rameshwaram. Perhaps in Rameshwaram, there was not much provision. So he wanted to move to the district headquarters in Ramanathapuram. Now, whether the father, he gave permission or not, he told me as if thinking aloud, Abul, I know you have to go away to grow. Does the seagull not fly across the sun, alone and without a nest? He quoted Khalil Gibran to my hesitant mother. When there was this issue discussed at home that Kalam wanted to go away from home for his higher studies. Mothers by nature are like that. It's difficult for them to part with their children. So mother might have been a little reluctant, or maybe she didn't like the idea. At that time, Kalam's father, he had told him, thinking aloud, little loud, that is to convey to the mother. He said, does the seagull not fly across the sun alone and without a nest? Seagull, a bird, any bird, right? He says that seagull also flies all over the sky. The bird flies across the sky. The bird flies alone. Seagull has no nest. So when a bird can fly across the sky without home, right, I know you have to go away to grow. So if it is needed to go away from home for your progress, for your development, for your growth, I think you should go. Indirectly, he had given Kalam permission. He had given him green signal. Yes, you can go away from home. You can go away from Rameshwaram because I know you are going away for your growth, for your development, for your bright future. He quoted Khalil Gibran to my hesitant mother. Then the father, he quoted some lines from Khalil Gibran. Khalil Gibran was a Libyan poet, children. He has written very beautiful, highly philosophical his poems are. So here he says, your children are not your children. Yes, these lines are from one of his collections of the poems under the title Prophet. He has written this. Your children, I have read this poem. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. What does it mean? The father, while quoting Khalil Gibran, has tried to convey to the mother that the children have their own thoughts. We should not impose our thoughts on them, and let us give them freedom to grow with their own thoughts and imagination. Right? This is the crux of it. Let me explain. Your children are not your children. Yes, this particular line, when I read for the first time in Khalil Gibran's poem, I was really, that surprised. And I discussed with my friends that how can you say your children are not your children? He says that you possess. He is conveying to the mother that you possess, that all these children are your children. No, they are not yours. They are yours as long as they need your care. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They are actually the sons and daughters. They are actually the creations of God. And they have come here on the earth to live a life. So we have to allow them to live that life. They come through you, but not from you. They come through the parents. The parents give them birth. The mother gives them birth. They come in this world through mother, but who has sent them? Not the mother. He, the Almighty, the God has sent them. As I told you that Khalil Gibran is highly philosophical. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts. You may give them your love, meaning this is the duty of the parents to give their care and love and whatever is needed for the children. But of course, they can guide them, they can direct them, but they cannot impose their thoughts on the children when they know that the children are going in the right direction. Let them fly like the bird, their independent flight, for they have their own thoughts. This is what the poet has tried to convey, that the parents should try to understand what is the thought process of the children, what are their thoughts, and then give them independence. Is that clear? The
Yes.
lesson we have concluded. Anmol, you have the next class?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So I will not say any other word today. Tomorrow we will discuss the questions and everything, okay? If any doubt, you please do share with me tomorrow.
Okay,
Fine?
ma'am.
So tomorrow at the same time. Till then, goodbye. You can leave class now.
Bye, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, good evening.